Okay, so we're going to start the GASB 87 closing package reconciliation tutorial. And we're going to do this in several videos because this is going to be fairly complicated. As a warning, just on the outset, whoever is doing this reconciliation needs to be skilled in BobJ, needs to be skilled in Bex, needs to be skilled in Excel, and needs to understand GASB 87. And by this point in the process, your agency should have invested enough in GASB 87 to understand this process. So whoever is the finance director or manager should have, you guys should have hand this reconciliation to someone who understands Excel, understands formulas, understands Bex, has a strong reconciliation skills, is able to understand directions, because this is not an easy process. And this is going to be extremely audit heavy. So that being said, let's get started. So the for now, right now, the guidance is going to be on our website. It is right now. It is going to be the step-by-step procedures is under the guidance and helpful links. Although I'm going to probably in the next few days going to get a separate section set up for under in two places. I'm going to have it set up under GASB 87. I'm going to get a separate section set up for the reconciliation. So it'll be under reconciliation, and then I'm also going to get it, I'll have it here, and then I'll also have it put under the closing package section. So you'll find it in two places. The lease reporting package step-by-step procedures and the video links. So I'm going to click on this lease reporting step-by-step procedures. We are not sending out a Word file because this will be updated constantly. So go and reference this file here. Don't download it. Always go and reference this here, because if we make changes, we're going to make it to the website, and the expectation is that you'll just constantly be referencing here. So here are the step-by-step procedures, and as I work through this file, we're going to work through it this way. And so I've got an outline set up on these procedures. We have a contents, and you can see we've got general overview, we've got general reconciliation procedures, and then other schedules. So I'm going to start here with our general overview. We've got some comments here. You can ignore these comments. It's just from our review, and I'll get rid of those eventually. We sent it to Kathy Johnson for review to make sure somebody outside our department could understand it. Okay, so I've already gone through this. To be done correctly, this requires extreme attention to detail, timely reconciliations, and proper oversight by your agency. This will be an audit-heavy area for fiscal year 2022. So as a warning to your agency, just make sure this is done. All your journal entries, all your corrections to the skis asset values has to be done before you're in. It has to be done before you turn it into our for your closing package, before it's turned into to the Comptroller General, to the CAFR, the ACFR team. The internal, the state auditor's office, and the external auditors are looking at this. They are in conversation with us about the agencies who are handling this. Your agency needs to be taking ownership of this. We are here to help you. We want to help you. Please ask us questions, because we really do want to help you. Okay, so we have set the files up by color coded. So when you get your file, you will see that there are color coded sections of what things are. So I'm just going to go through the layout of this file for the very first video. This first tab right here is the blue tab, and this is the lease roll forward. And so on our direction sheet, this is B1, which is the blue, is the final reconciliation tab. And what this is where you list all your GASB 87 lease IDs and what type of lease it is, the interest rate on it, and it's going to have the initial debt outstanding at the beginning of the year, and it's going to have your increases to it, it's going to have your pay downs to it, and then it's going to have your final debt at the end of the year. So this is just a summary of these pink schedules here. So, and then it's going to be a breakdown of what is due within 1 year, and then what is due within after 1 year. So you can see right here, I used E160 as a good example because we have reconciled for E160 as we have for all the agencies through January of 2022. So we've reconciled, and we're going to give to you guys from July of 2021 through January of 2022. And this agency started their year with $16,747 in leases. They added $31,000 in leases, and they've paid down $25,000 in leases. So that leaves them with $22,000. We break them out. They've got $7,000 due of those leases within 1 year. So per the ACFR, they will have $7,000 due within 1 year, and the rest is $14,000. Then for the ACFR schedule, this is going to break them out for their future liability. All this balances back to their payment schedule, which they have set up per their GASB 87 payment schedule, which they've set up, they've amortized out. So if you totaled each individual payments by year, it would roll back, sum up to all these. So if you go down here to these reconciliations right down here at the bottom, what this is doing is it's just tying back the above items back to the payment schedules, and you can see right here. So this is tying the payment schedule, and this is tying this back to the skis asset listing. So this is really important here. This is an important note here for the reconciler. If your asset listing does not agree to your payment schedule, then you're going to have to adjust it because it'll be off here. So fortunately for E160, their payment schedules are in agreement. Okay, so that's the lease roll forward schedule, and this is going to be helpful because this is provided, this is what your agency will prepare, and this is going to be submitted for your closing package, and this is what ultimately rolls into the ACFR for your agency for GASB 87. So now we're going to move on per our instructions to the pink section right here. And this is the, per our instructions, this is the lease roll forward supporting reconciliations. So this is B2 right here. So I'm going to start in on showing you these sections right here. And again, we're just going to do a high level run through, and then in the next videos, we're going to actually get into the nitty-gritty of how you balance these. So on this expenditure, this first tab within the pink section, the expenditure reconciliation, all this is is this is the general ledger accounts within the lease section of the GL, and it takes the actual general ledger for your agency and it just grabs what the general ledger is and it compares them to the payment schedule tab. And if there's any difference, it alerts the reconciler that there's a difference. So what this is saying is, hey reconciler, what's posting to your general ledger is different from what you are saying your payment schedule is. And if you can remember, for the reconciler, the payment schedule is basically the predetermined amortization schedule that's been set up for the leases. And there should be no difference between what posts per the payment schedule month to month per the general ledger. And if there is a difference, then that should tell you that something is wrong on your payment schedule or something is wrong on your general ledger. So now let's move to your payment schedule. So your payment schedule is what you set up on your lease calculator, and what you from that lease calculator, it then calculated the future of all the payments and then what the asset value should be. And as you pay your payments and post them to the general ledger, it should agree exactly to this payment schedule. So in theory, there should be no difference between this payment schedule and your general ledger. Your BW expense report. Your BW expense report is a download from BW Warehouse. In the instructions, we tell you where to go to find. When we get into the actual nitty-gritty of reconciling it, I'll go into how to find that report, and I'll show you the download of it. But this is just a download of your actual general ledger activity, and this column right here just categorizes the general ledger activity, whether or not it's a GASB 87 expense, so whether or not it is going to be related to any of, I'm going to put quotes around this, a capitalizable expense, or whether or not it's like a low value, it's a non-GASB 87 lease expense. So it is immaterial, it is low value, it is contingent, it's non-GASB 87. And then we're going to move to this last pink tab, which is a supporting, again, this is a supporting tab for the reconciliation process, which is your BW asset listing. And this is a download from BW of your GASB 87 assets, a download from BW of your lease values related to GASB 87. And just want to point out, it's important here, this BW asset number right here, this BW asset number corresponds on your payment schedule to this asset number here, and this asset number here and this lease ID number here are linked together. So okay, so now I'm in this section right here, which is the purple right here in this purple information area. This is just a supporting area section, so we haven't really used it in this section. It's sort of a little redundant, but you are free to use it if you want. These are leases that are excluded, so these would be your contingent leases, your low value leases, your leases that mature less than 1 year. If you wanted to track them, you can track them here. We did not do it on our end, but you are certainly free to do it on your end. This green section here is supporting information. So this is so this first tab right here is your master data. These are all the GL accounts that flow into where you're going to record any lease expense. So right here, this is just if you're curious. Excuse me. So these right here, so you can see if it's a lease expense, this is going to be anything that's GASB 87. So this is going to be things that are going to be related to GASB 87. So all these general ledger accounts are going to be related to capitalized leases, which again, I'm going to put quotations around the capitalized leases because those are just GASB 87 leases. Anything that's not a lease expense, all of these are non-GASB 87 leases. So when you, if you post to these general ledger accounts for a GASB 87 lease, it is going to cause a reconciliation problem for you. And likewise, the inverse. If you post a non-GASB 87 lease to these accounts, it's going to cause a reconciliation item for you. And then these are the categories for GASB 87 leases. If you have a lease building, these are the account ranges for lease building and so forth. This is the implementation schedule for reference, and so this comes from when your agency originally set up their lease in the beginning. So this is just kind of helpful for your agency when you first set up your schedule. And then these are Act for business areas. This really is more for us than you, but it can just, if you're confused as to why maybe your agency is showing up as A000 when you're like, my agency is E40, this is why. And then this is just an index of funds. And we can delete this because this has nothing to do with you guys. So this is just a general overview of the reconciliation file for the first video.